Leon Breitling was a promising 24-year-old watchmaker who, in 1884, opened a modest workshop in the small Swiss Jura village of Saint-Imier. What he had in mind was simple, if rather original, building complex timers and chronographs. His expertise and the reputation of his timepieces grew so fast that in a few years he had moved production to a new factory in La Chaux-de-Fonds. Sometime later, concluding that the wrist was a better place than the pocket for a chronograph, his son Gaston developed a 30-minute timer with center totalizer. Qualities like excellent legibility and ruggedness quickly won Breitling chronographs military orders. It was soon a leading supplier of chronographs and chronometers to the world's air forces, a development that influenced Breitling to concentrate on this area. When Leon's grandson, Willy Breitling, took over the company in 1932, military and Air Force demand grew dramatically, and Breitling began supplying the Royal Air Force. 1942 introduced the new chronomat, the world's first wrist chronograph fitted with a slide rule, quickly winning a following in industry, further confirming Breitling's reputation as a top-flight technical watch manufacturer. Breitling engineers soon developed the famed duograph with double chronohand, one of which flies back, and a 45-minute totalizer. The product development drive was backed by vigorous advertising designed to build up Breitling's image and reputation. Humor often played a role here, although Breitling advertising to the trade and to consumers obviously stressed technical features. In 1952, Breitling inaugurated its new Geneva premises with the launch of the innovative Navitimer chronograph, a true navigational instrument for the world's pilots. Breitling played a role in the conquest of space, adapting its cosmonaut model in 1962 to a specific mission of the Mercury program. Later, other stars were to get a closer look at Breitling chronographs. Today, as never before, Breitling's wing symbol is flying high, including on the Cap 231 and on the wrist of pilot Patrick Paris, or strapped to the arm of the flying acrobatic teams of the world's air forces. Today, piloting Breitling's development and future, Ernest Schneider has invested vast experience as a pilot, microelectronics expert, and experienced watchmaker into keeping the company right on the course it set itself over a century ago. Turning out high-quality, easy-to-read, easy-to-handle, and rugged chronographs and instrument watches is our flight plan, as is making them as beautiful as can be. Breitling gracefully salutes the world of aviation and is happy to contribute to its promotion. For nearly a century now, it has provided a tremendous test bench for Breitling timepieces and shared its prestige with Breitling chronographs. 80 years ago, the first airplane looped the loop. Today, Breitling has instituted the Breitling World Cup, which is now an official International Aeronautics Federation competition. It aims to promote the basic skills embodied in aerobatics: precision, technical mastery, and aesthetic excellence. For Breitling, active support for aerobatics is both a way of promoting careers in aviation and a specific contribution to the image and popularity of aviation. What precisely is a chronograph? To begin with, it is a precision instrument. Then, along with the usual hours, minutes, and seconds, it provides short-term measurements when a pair of push pieces located on either side of the crown are actioned. To measure a given time, you begin by pressing on the start push piece, and the seconds hand leaps forward, measuring the passage of time to the fifth of a second. 60 seconds later, the minute totalizer will mark its first minute. Then, after 30 minutes, the hour totalizer will register the half hour. The timing process is halted by pressing on the same push piece once again. All hands can be returned to zero by actioning the second push piece. The chronograph's ability to measure short times without losing the display of the time of day results from a special complex device, a bit of micromechanical wizardry that watchmakers call a complication. This is how it works in a classic chronograph design. Pressing on the start push piece pivots the main lever, which in turn moves the intermediate lever, then the intermediate wheel toward the chronograph wheel through an ingenious mechanical transmission system. This intermediate wheel transmits the watch's 1 second advance to the chronograph wheel, causing the center seconds hand to begin moving in turn. After 60 seconds, a tooth advances the minute totalizer by 1 minute. A second press on the push piece causes the interlocking levers to shift the intermediate wheel, thereby disengaging the chronograph wheel, which then comes to an instant stop. A brake now blocks the chronograph wheel, providing a crisp display of the measured time with 1/5 of a second precision. Pressing on the second push piece returns the chronograph to 0. A single press triggers a hammer that acts on the heart of each totalizer hand, causing them to rotate at high speed until they resume their initial position. These three operations take place simultaneously, as you can see by these animated actual speed sequences. Developments in both mechanical watch construction and microelectronics have led to the design of 4 major types of chronographs, all represented in the Breitling collection. The oldest is the hand-wound mechanical chronograph, whose current configuration dates from the 40s. Remarkable in its own right, its movement is surely one of the most classic of all Breitling chronographs. A later development from Breitling, dating from the 60s, is the self-winding mechanical chronograph. No more daily winding. The forearm's movements generate all the power needed to run both the watch and the chronograph. An efficient combination of quartz-piloted electronics and the traditional chronograph's mechanical controls, the chronosextant's caliber 55 possesses both the accuracy and other advantages of a battery-powered watch that runs permanently, plus the practical handling of mechanical controls and instant return to 0. To end on a futuristic note, the highly legible dichroic display of the Breitling 56 movement fitted on the aerospace and chronospace designs reflects the company's expertise at harnessing advanced electronics to time display. Auxiliary functions like an alarm, a second time zone, and a countdown timer round out a chronograph to the 100th of a second, not to mention classic watch functions provided by traditional hands. When comparing mechanical and quartz chronographs, it is important to remember that the timing variation of these two large categories of products is very different. Properly adjusted and fully wound, a mechanical chronograph is precise to within 0 and plus 10 seconds a day. 1 minute per week, 4 minutes per month, or 1 hour per year. Using the chrono may influence this data. With a carefully adjusted trimmer, an electronic chronograph will typically vary between 0 and 5 seconds per month, that is, 1 minute a year. Using the chrono does not influence this data. These two types of precision vary by a factor 60, which means that if a buyer places more value on very high precision than on the charm of mechanical complications, an electronic timepiece will provide him with a precision which is 60 times superior to that of a mechanical watch. On the other hand, a mechanical watch is a very complex mechanical system which functions 24 hours a day during many years. The precision reached through such systems is an extraordinary achievement which can scarcely be improved in the future. There is yet another important notion. A chronograph is not a chronometer, which is an official term granted to a very precise watch, which has successfully been tested by the official testing authority. Demanding professionals often insist on Breitling chronographs like the Navi timer, Chronomat, and Aerospace, because in addition to the reassuring name on the dial, they embody definite practical and functional features. Every Breitling model is designed for easy reading under all light conditions, including nighttime. Aviation experts continue to contribute to the design of wrist instruments with the exceptional built-in ruggedness to withstand rough treatment. Every component of a Breitling, case, push pieces, and crown, crystal, bracelet, and movement is designed for problem-free use under trying conditions. The folding clasp itself provides extra strength and safety in case of traction on the strap. The choice of unusually tough materials, the actual design of the case, recessed watch crystals protected by bezel and rider tabs, all this and more explain the exceptional resistance of Breitling instrument watches to shocks and jarring, friction, accelerations, and even corrosion. Breitling's determination to provide its customers with exceptionally tough, resistant products is confirmed by the long series of stringent tests it subjects them to, even sacrificing production models, as here during crystal resistance tests. Even the push pieces are tested for water tightness time after time underwater to monitor gasket resistance. Both the case and the movement of this chronomat chronograph, with the hands in motion, obviously seem to withstand the brutalities of the test bench, repeatedly being tossed up with over 100 G's acceleration. The Striker pendulum is designed to simulate the jarring shock to which a 1 meter fall on a hardwood floor would subject a watch case. During the long series of Breitling inspections, we might mention the watch hand position check. Here, a very powerful camera monitors the parallel position of the hands. Navitami rotating bezels are subjected to intense simulated use of an entire expected lifetime. The crowns are subjected to thousands of repeated to and fro windings. Specially designed monitoring equipment is used to observe the performance of our watches, determining their instantaneous rate and establishing detailed statistical databanks. Here, the pilot bracelet is being subjected to a mechanical endurance test. Its lateral resistance will never be tested as severely by its future owner as it is here. Another test, as complex and demanding, is the challenge of having Breitling chronographs worn daily on the wrists of military and non-military test pilots all year round. Breitling is grateful for the contributions of confirmed professionals like them to its product improvement programs. Used under often stressful physical conditions, Breitling instrument watches are deliberately designed for easy handling. In particular, chronograph function controls have been standardized once and for all. Such special design features stem from a deliberate corporate policy of building quality into Breitling products all the way from design through production. Now for a closer look at the Breitling approach. Combining vast technological capabilities and traditional craft virtuosity with more than a century's experience, the design and production of Breitling watches involves both advanced scientific and industrial expertise and ancient workshop know-how, while computer-aided equipment contributes to the flawless technical and aesthetic design of every watch case. An example of Breitling's quest for quality is found in the way steel and gold are worked at every step, with perfection as an everyday objective. Here, gold, silver, and copper are alloyed to subtle perfection to ensure that chronomats display exactly the right warm pinkish hue. This careful dosage will, after casting operations, yield the special ingots ready to be machined into Breitling cases. During stamping operations, the gold is crushed and compressed by a press with dozens of tons of power until the typical chronomat case slowly emerges. The stamping is annealed in an oven at 700 degrees Celsius to recover its elasticity before being stamped to its definitive configuration. Advanced technology is used for machining and drilling the case with an accuracy of 1/100th of a millimeter. This robot affects 85 different operations on the chronomat case, switching from tool to tool automatically. Yet when the time comes to endow the case with its specific character, the human hand is supreme, deftly touching up the beveling of a bezel. This tool of flesh and blood can also, by touch and experience, work to 1-micron tolerances. The drive for perfection demands innumerable gestures and procedures, all contributing to the exceptional ruggedness of Breitling chronographs. Here, a tiny gold spangle is welded around the crown stem tube to ensure the gold case's total water tightness. Polishing operations will then make the metal glow, sometimes using ancient techniques like this zinc wheel or with a felt pad. The polisher's hands unerringly guide the gold against the wheel with utter precision to give it the most luminous sheen possible. Step by step, the metal is enhanced until it assumes its permanent finish and polish. A final buffing concludes an example of fine teamwork, from designer to stamping press specialist to lathe operator to polisher, including the people who supervise the hundreds of intermediate operations like circular graining a case back. Then the case is assembled, here mounting rider tabs. Even tinier details count too. The tritium dot on the 12 o'clock tab is protected by a sapphire lens 1 millimeter across and 1/1500ths thick. Push pieces, crown, sapphire crystal, titanium gaskets, and case back are then fitted onto the case. Here, a white gold chronomat, part of a limited series. The last operation, fitting on the bezel. Every case is then subjected to a comprehensive battery of tests, especially for water resistance, to 100 meters, and for Breitling professionals to 300, about 1,000 feet. Breitling has developed a practically foolproof technique to detect leaks by placing its cases in an overpressure caisson. They are checked before casing up the movement and again as complete watches. While the case is in its armor, the dial is the chronograph's face. Breitling insists here again on very special qualities so as to give each of its watches distinctive style and personality. Above the engine-turned area, the transfer press affixes Breitling's logo, as here on a chronomat dial. The human eye and hand again, this time to position hour markers, whose feet are only 1/4 of a millimeter in size. The dial will be checked and checked again before being fitted on a chronograph. No survey of Breitling's overall quest for quality can overlook the workshops where Breitling's straps and bracelets, including the famed pilot, are lovingly turned out. The pilot bracelet's technical look hints at both speed and toughness and provides exceptional comfort on the wrist. A word or two about this item's originality and immediate popularity. Unlike anything on the market, its design conveys definite originality. Good looks, utterly functional, nothing else comes close to a pilot bracelet. Its design and that of its folding clasp and safety catch were computer-aided, benefiting from movement and in-wear constraint simulations before production got underway. Quality first here again. Basic manufacturing operations like milling and cutting the gold links are affected by tireless, inhumanly precise robots. The yellow link featured on the gold and steel pilot model is composed of a steel section covered with a solid gold tube 3/10 of a millimeter thick. The gold layer is slowly but permanently bonded to the steel core. After sophisticated equipment, back to the human hand, whose deftness and delicate touch assemble and screw together with retaining glue the 119 components making up a pilot bracelet. Of these, 21 are different. The bracelets and bracelet ends are carefully and extensively polished. Then comes a final inspection, where finish and subtleness are closely scrutinized. With respect to leather straps, the first essential step is selection of the right hides, principally Japanese sharkskin, reputed for its toughness. Others from Louisiana alligator farms, including semi-matte safari finish quality, or specially prepared calfskin, displaying exceptionally fine grain, and finding the right hues is all important. The hides are thinned, cut, pared, and readied for a series of largely manual operations. Breitling strap edges are tucked in by hand. Special cuts make for neat all-round finishing. Loops, too, are cut by hand before being affixed to the inside of the strap. Two ultra-resistant types of thread are used to stitch them with, ecru for the outside and silver for the lining. Durable stitches are achieved by pulling out, cutting, tucking back in, and gluing each thread. Each strap will then be closely inspected and touched up until it meets Breitling's stringent standards. It is then heat stamped with the Breitling logo and its dimensions. Its exact width is measured and horn gap size adjusted if need be. Each strap is then cleaned and visually inspected one last time. Quality above all, permanent painstaking care, total dedication on the part of a large and varied team. We dedicate this sequence to all of them. 1884 is the name of the first of Breitling's 6 product lines, a salute to its past achievements and to the heroic early days of aviation. First, the old Navitimer II, the current water-resistant version of the pilot's watch with built-in slide rule introduced in 1952. Displaying even the weeks and seasons, this perpetual calendar version of the old Navitimer is the most complex of Breitling chronographs. Cosmonaut II,
The space-going version of the old Navitimer features a 24-hour round-the-dial time display. More compact, the Navitimer 92 is equipped with a slide rule calibrated with contradirectional scales. The Navitimer Airborne is a self-winding chronograph for pilots, designed to measure time spans of under 10 minutes on a pair of exceptionally legible totalizers. Unusual inasmuch as a time zone bezel replaces the classic slide rule, the Navitimer Avi's smoothly rounded lines compose a classic all-purpose timepiece. Chronoliner is the name of Breitling's contemporary chronograph family. Their bezel features those unmistakable writer tabs. Breitling's collection leader for the last decade, the Chronomat, continues a worldwide career as an unusually handsome and rugged timepiece. On the Chronomat Yachting, a very practical countdown disc covers the last 10 minutes before a regatta's starting gun and provides a double visual indication of the last minute before the race. The Chronomat Longitude, for its part, features a second independent watch hand that can be retracted under the main one. More compact than the Chronomat, the Chrono Cockpit's softly curved case houses one of the world's smallest self-winding movements, now fitted with a magnifying lens over the calendar. Optimally combining mechanical controls for the chronograph and a quartz time base, the Chrono Sextant is a unique technical achievement. The Chrono Sirius is the Chronoliner family's only fully electronic chronograph. With its 5 micromotors, it displays the 10th of a second along with split times. The 3 Astromats are complex instrument chronographs tailored to horological enthusiasts. They are made in very limited numbers. First, the Chrono QP and its amazing mechanical memory. It stores the exact date, leap years included, until the year 2100. Chrono 1461 shows the month, day, date, and moon phases for a 1,461-day period. That is, 4 years. Chrono Longitude includes a second time zone indicator, a second independent hour hand that can also travel on scene under the first. Night Flight, Breitling's beauties, those watches you wear when you don't need a full-fledged instrument. The Duograph, surely the easiest second time zone watch to use. Just press the push pieces to move the second hand backward or forward. Generated by the wearer's own movements, the Réserve de Marche provides a permanent readout of the amount of mechanical power remaining. The Antares is a sportsman's watch fitted with a rugged and reliable, heavy-duty mechanical movement. The astutely designed Antares World. It provides frequent travelers with a practical display of 3 different time zones. The unisex Sirius, functional yet elegantly sports-spirited, offers excellent legibility from every angle, with perpetual calendar quartz movement. Sized for a woman's graceful wrist, the Sirius Lady comes with a self-winding or with a quartz movement, fitted with a calendar programmed until the year 2100. The Callisto's unisex styling offers a touch of sporty refinement, quartz movement with battery end-of-life indicator. The most compact of all Breitling timepieces, the Callistino II, is now available with a pilot bracelet and a quartz or self-winding movement. The Breitling professional timepieces are all extremely rugged and make good use of microelectronic wizardry. The Aerospace is a multifunction chronograph to 1/100th of a second, set and controlled entirely by the crown, a very tough ultralight titanium case. Resulting from long and fruitful cooperation between the world of aviation and Breitling, the Chronospace is a chronograph with a slide rule for pilots. Featuring analog displays only, the Jupiter Pilot measures short times to 1/50th of a second. It has both an alarm and a countdown timer. The Breitling Pluton, extremely rugged, water-resistant to 200 meters, indicates the time with hands. Its digital readout serves for a chronograph to 1/10th of a second. Easy to read and extremely rugged, the Chrono Shark is a heavy-duty chronograph available in quartz or self-winding movement. The Shark feature cases without sharp angles and edges for extra durability, able to withstand pressures to depths of 300 meters with quartz or self-winding movement. This civilian version of a design developed for the armed forces, the Colt, is the toughest, most rugged Breitling with an attractive price-to-quality ratio. The UTC is a highly compact auxiliary quartz watch permanently showing a second time zone. Breitling's 3 J-class timepieces salute those magnificent sailing ships that raced for the America's Cup during the 1930s. With its color-zoned bezel, this quartz-piloted Chrono J-class displays distinction, water-resistant to 100 meters. Discreetly designed yet utterly legible, the dial rim of this J-class gent can double as a navigation compass. It will also dive to 200 meters in safety and style. Also designed for deep diving, the J-class Lady 2 is available with a quartz or a self-winding mechanical movement, and even with a Breitling pilot bracelet. This is the Breitling factory, a familiar sight to many people in Switzerland, located in Gretchen, a small town on the main Geneva to Zurich rail line. Here is where watchmakers put the finishing touch to exhaustively tested Breitling chronographs before they began their long career. Many new instrument watches are on the drawing boards or in advanced development, some in cooperation with aviation experts. Breitling wishes to thank every professional involved in upholding its reputation and that of quality chronographs. In every workshop we have toured, in retail stores whose sales staff is skilled at explaining and demonstrating these marvels of microtechnology, and thousands of feet in the air where we know we can rely on invaluable advice from particularly demanding watch and chronograph users.